Hello Game Boys and Game Girls, I'm the Game Boy Guru and welcome to my January pickups video. I have a lot to get to. I was not expecting anywhere near the amount of stuff that I ended up with in January. I knew I had some packages coming in the mail. Yeah, let's just dive in and I'll just show you and tell you what all happened. So, a couple weeks ago, I went to the city that's nearby that I like to go to kind of do some game hunting. And in recent weeks, the pawn shop and Goodwill have basically been kind of dead, and there hasn't been a ton for me to get. In fact, I've ended up buying more Blu-rays at the pawn shop than anything else just because they have them so cheap. But when I went this time, the pawn shop still didn't have any new games that I wanted, but Goodwill was good. So Goodwill number 1, I ended up getting some complete in-box Game Boy Advance games. And those are Kim Possible 2, Draken's Demise. I got SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom. A game called Snood 2 on Vacation, which I've heard is not very good, but it sort of looks like a puzzle bobble type of game where you move the cursor or the arrow on the screen back and forth and fire pieces to match colors and things. So I don't know, but it's complete in box, so I figured I'd pick it up. And also this cartridge, or this game that I was not aware of, and that is Pong Asteroids and Yar's Revenge. So it looks like it's the arcade version of Pong, or an approximation of that. An approximation of the arcade version of Asteroids with something that is mimicking the vector graphic style, and the 2600 version of Yar's Revenge, which is a great game. So, pretty cool. Then I went to Goodwill number 2. And Goodwill number 2, I rarely pick up very much because it's usually not as good as what Goodwill number 1 has, or they just don't have anything. But this time, they did. So let's just quickly jump in here, and I'll sort these out just a little bit. So, we got GoldenEye, Rogue Agent, Portal Runner, which I was not aware was on the PS2. I've seen the GBA version, but that was a cool find. And it was thankfully something that I decided to be persistent and look next to the regular DVD and game rack was another shelf that normally has electronics on it, but there was a whole stack of old westerns on DVD, and I decided, well, I'm going to look behind that because I saw there was other DVD cases behind that, and sure enough, there was a couple of games, including Portal Runner. Call of Duty 3 Special Edition Greatest Hits, and this has a bonus disc, so this is a variant that I didn't have before. Call of Duty World at War Final Fronts, and this is a dupe, but I have plans for that. Finally got the PS2 version of Prince of Persia Warrior Within. And Eco! This is one I've been after for quite some time. I know you can get it on PS3 in a pack with Shadow of the Colossus, but I really wanted to find the original PlayStation 2 version, and now I have it. And it's in really good shape, too. Enter the Matrix Greatest Hits. I did not have this on PS2. And by the screenshots, it looks like it's similar to the Xbox version, but there's no information on the back as to what resolution it runs at. The screenshots do show widescreen, so I'm assuming with component cables it'll do that. I think the Xbox version can run at either 720p or 1080i over component. I doubt that the PS2 version does that, but it'll be interesting to see. Also got Lara Croft Tomb Raider Legend and Lara Croft Tomb Raider Anniversary, Ratchet & Clank Size Matters, Mercenaries 2 World in Flames, and Spy Fiction. So, a whole bunch of PS2 games I didn't have. For the Wii, I got Cold Stone Creamery Scoop Up, and yeah, it's probably a kid's game. It looks very cutesy and simple, but I'm a sucker for Cold Stone. They have amazing ice cream. So I thought, that might be fun. Might also be something fun that I could take with me over to my brother's house some weekend and maybe play with my niece and nephew. So that'll be fun. Also, for the PS3, I got Little Big Planet 2, which this looks like the vanilla release that I didn't have. I've got a variant that has some additional stuff, but this is the plain Jane version. Ratchet & Clank All for One. Again, a dupe, but I have plans for it. And the Angry Birds trilogy. So that was Goodwill number 2. Then, on the same day, I stopped by the game store, the mom and pop shop that I like to go to, and picked up a couple things there too. So I got Naruto Shippuden Kizuna Drive. Looks like a 3D action game. And I think my second Naruto title on the PSP, there are several. This one I was surprised I didn't have, and that is 2K Sports Major League Baseball 2K9. Turns out I only had 2K7, I believe. So, yeah, was kind of shocked I didn't have that one yet. And also, Phantasy Star Portable 2. I've been eyeing this one on their shelves for quite some time, and just wasn't sure I wanted to plunk down the cash for it. But in my quest to get the entire PSP set, I needed it, and I figured, now's as good a time as any, right? Then, on the same day, I stopped over at GameStop because I wanted to see if there were any Wii U games that they had that I was still missing and could pick up at a decent price. And they were having a buy two, get one free on used games. So I picked up Terraria, which I ended up getting for free. Super Smash Bros. For Wii U. I got Yakuza Kiwami, which is a steelbook, and unfortunately, it doesn't have both discs. I guess GameStop's policy is as long as the game is included, any bonus content, it doesn't necessarily have to be included, but if it's in there, they'll sell it alongside it the way it should be. But yeah, they only require the game. So whatever the second disc in this is, I don't have it. So maybe I can source that somewhere eventually, but for now it is cool that I finally have a Yakuza game in the collection. And finally, I picked up a new game that I didn't even know was out, and that is the physical version of Shovel Knight Treasure Trove. Love Shovel Knight, as you all should know, and this now has all 4 of the Shovel Knight games on it. So Shovel Knight, Plague of Shadows, Spectre of Torment, and King of Cards. And then it also has this Shovel Knight Showdown, which I believe is a 2D fighting game that has the Shovel Knight characters in it. So, and possibly multiplayer. So maybe like a Smash Brothers style sort of thing. I'll have to check it out. Anyway, very glad to have this. I foresee many hours of shoveling and knighting in my future. So that was all one day. And it reminds me of when I was game hunting, 4, 5, 6 years ago, and I could go to Pawn Shop and Goodwill and just come home with an armful of stuff. So that was pretty cool. Regarding stuff I got in the mail, I got some stuff from my buddy Duke Togo of the Collector Cast, and many thanks to him. He sent me an item that he had messaged me about a few weeks ago and asked me if I was interested in it. And then also he ended up at a game store in his area that was closing down, and they had stuff at 75% off. So he was posting some photos and letting people know what they had so that we could kind of tell him what stuff we wanted. And he picked up a whole bunch of stuff for me. So let's start out with some long boxes. He got some... There were a bunch of Saturn sports games that he picked up because these were all in good shape and had good cases. I have a couple Saturn games that have damaged cases, so it'll be nice to change these out so that I can put the non-sports games in the better cases. But a couple of these I might actually mess around with. So we've got Frank Thomas, Big Hurt Baseball. We've got NBA Live 97. NHL All-Star Hockey. NHL 97. And Strikers 96. He also got me this sports game, which I probably will play, and that is Bill Walsh College Football on the Sega CD. I have some good memories of this game. Not the Sega CD version, but the standard Genesis version. I remember renting that with my best friend back in high school, and he spent the night one Friday after school, and we rented this and stayed up half the night playing it, and it was a ton of fun. So yeah, this one I'll probably have to dig into. And he also picked up the long box version of Siberia for the PlayStation. I've mentioned this on the channel before, but this was a game that I owned on the Saturn when I first got it. Played it, enjoyed it up to a point, but got frustrated at the end of the game and decided, this isn't worth finishing. So I sold it, or I guess traded it in with a couple of other games at the game store. Probably the last time I've ever traded anything in. I decided, you know what? That's not good. I should, as a collector, reacquire it. Plus, I kind of want to see if I can go back and finish it at some point. So anyway, I reacquired the Saturn version a couple years back, and now I have the PlayStation version. And now Crazy Me is considering going for the 3DO version so I can have the trifecta. So that's long box stuff. He also got me some other stuff. So for the Atari 2600, we have Snoopy and the Red Baron. Pretty cool. That'll be fun to mess around with. For the PSP, we have Warriors of the Lost Empire. And Dante's Inferno. Finally picked that one up. So a couple more games to scratch off the PSP list. And then for the original PlayStation, we have Expendable, PO'd, and I don't know if you'll see, but up there on the far corner, I've got the long box for PO'd for 3DO. And so that'll be fun, because then I'll be able to compare the two versions. And I'm assuming the PlayStation version is better, but I don't know. Also have Machine Head, Roscoe McQueen, Firefighter Extreme, and Panzer General. And if that weren't enough, he also picked me up a couple of shmups. So I got to add a couple of those to the collection. So for the Master System, we got Zaxxon 3D. I don't have the 3D attachment, so I won't be able to test that functionality yet, but that's pretty cool. Also got something that is apparently a fairly common game, but I never see it in my area, and that is Phalanx. So finally have a copy of this classic. And also a game that Easy Racer introduced me to. I was aware of it before, but I actually got to play it with him. And there'll be an archive of a stream that I did last year, I believe, where he came out and we did a co-op stream and we played Silkworm on NES and then Firepower 2000, which is kind of a pseudo sequel or a sequel of sorts of Silkworm. It's often called Swiv in Europe because it's like Silkworm 4, so SWIV. And anyway, so finally got a copy of that for myself. So I'm glad to have that. My Japan contact hooked me up with another shmup, or shall I say shmups, in the Salamander Deluxe pack for the Sega Saturn. So this has Salamander, Life Force, and Salamander 2. Since I slept on the PSP version, which I still intend to get at some point, but at least now I can play arcade versions of those games, and so I'm glad to have that. That's pretty sweet. Oh, and the other thing, I forgot to show the other thing that Duke Togo hooked me up with, and that is the Mighty Mushroom. I finally have a 32X and the connector cable that will connect it from the back of the unit to the Genesis Model 1, which I have. So once I can source a power supply for this bad boy, and then also the, I guess I've got an AV connector that should work with this. So I'll have to double check that. But yeah. Anyway, this should work pretty well, and I just need to get a power supply, and then I'll be able to actually play 32X games. So bonus. But wait, there's more! If that wasn't enough, I got another shmup in the mail, and that is the PS4 version of Shikondo Soul Eater. Now, I'm not going to take this out of the plastic and show it off because I already did that for the Switch version a few months back, and the contents are basically going to be the same, except for the game case is going to be different shaped, and it's going to say PS4 on it, so I'm not going to worry about that, but it'll be interesting to compare the PS4 and Switch versions of the two games when I finally decide to pull this one out and do it for the Shmup Club. Got a package in the mail a few days ago with something that I knew was coming, but I wasn't 100% sure when I'd get it. And that is Ultracore for the Sega Genesis. This is a run and gun game that was originally in development for the Genesis. It was going to be called Hardcore, but for whatever reason the project was scrapped and was shelved before the game was finished. So they've gone back and finished the game, and now Strictly Limited Games has released this on multiple platforms, including the original Genesis and Mega Drive, where it was supposed to have been. So, of course, we have the nice cartridge there. and a really nice full color manual. I'll just show you a little bit of this. Got some story information there, shows your character, controls, explains the heads-up display, weapons and items, etc. So pretty cool. Oh, and of course a notes page, because every Sega Genesis manual needs a notes page. So I'm definitely going to have to pull that one out and possibly stream that, because that seems like that would be fun. But I didn't just settle for the Genesis version. I also got the Nintendo Switch Collector's Edition. And I've already pulled the plastic off, but thought I would show this to you guys. This top portion is a slip cover, so that they could just print one box for everything and just use the slipcover to denote PS4 or Switch. But this is pretty sweet. It's got, just pull this out here. It's got a sticker sheet here, which I love the fact that they include the original hardcore logo alongside the Ultracore logo. You got the hero there a couple times, the box pose, and then from the game, and some other sprite rips, so that's pretty cool. You have this sweet poster with the cover art, so that's awesome. They included a couple of extra things as apologies because it took so long for this thing to come out. So there's a postcard that I think is pretty standard with all strictly limited releases. This little sincere apology card that actually has looks like a handwritten note on the back. Pretty sure that's actually handwritten, but I don't know if they wrote it on each one or if they just hand wrote the note and then printed it on these. But either way, nice that they did that. And then they included this cool little art card deal. But it's like a plastic piece with the art underneath, and there's a little plastic film that I can pull off of there and display that. So that's pretty cool. We also get 2 soundtracks. The 1994 edition, which I'm assuming is going to be capture of the chiptunes that are in the Genesis version of the game. And then the 2019 edition, which has what looks like different artists doing music for the game. Mega Drive, 3-Force, Wave Shaper, Fury Weekend, Scandroid, Red Marker, Gadgetor, Isidore, Fixions, Superflight, Vector Wolf, In Oblivion. So, yeah, I'm not sure if it's, what kind of music it is, or, if it's like chiptune arrangements, or possibly retro wave, that kind of a thing. But anyway, it's cool that they included both soundtracks, so definitely looking forward to ripping those. And of course, the game itself. So there's the box, the Switch box for it. The Lost Run and Gun from the 90s. So very cool. So I might have to do a stream of both and just sort of compare the two versions. But a very nice package. Strictly Limited is kind of notorious for this now, where their stuff always takes forever to ship. But it is a really nice package, and I am happy that I went ahead and went the double dip route on that, because it will be cool to play both versions. I also got another shmup in the mail that I had pre-ordered a while back. And that is the limited edition of Esperade. Now this is the Switch version. I may double dip and get the standard PS4 release just so I have it. But let's take a look at this. This is a nice little bonus. They did the same thing for the initial orders of Ketsui on PS4. The Shot Triggers team did, and sent you a little book like this. And so it's got this fun art on the front there, and then all kinds of information and screenshots showing the different characters, explaining how to play the game, and explaining the mechanics. Unfortunately, it's all in Japanese, and I cannot read Japanese. And I couldn't even tell you if this is katakana, hiragana, or some combination of both, because I'm not familiar enough with the character sets to know. There may be some kanji in here as well. But it is cool. It's got level layout stuff, and yeah, it shows the different levels and boss information. So it's really a slick looking booklet. Pretty cool. So that's a nice little bonus with the game. And then we get to the game itself. So of course here's the nice box with the alternate artwork and information on the back showing your characters, a couple screenshots, notating the Arcade Plus mode and the Super Easy mode, and then the Iori's Room side game that's included. Arcade Plus is I don't know all the details, but I know that when it comes to scoring in this game, the original arcade version has this thing where in order to score really high, you have to milk the bosses. And there's apparently a way to do that. And so M2, when they ported this game over, they created this Arcade Plus arrangement that reduces the boss milking so that you can kind of play it straight and still score well without having to go through all of that nonsense. Because apparently it's pretty ridiculous how long you have to milk some of the bosses in order to make that go, or in order to score quite high. Oh. So, let's take a look here. So inside we have a couple of sticker sheets. Here's one that has, of course, some item stickers, Esperade logo, M2 and Shot Triggers stickers, younger versions of the characters, and then we have some other cool stickers that have the last boss sort of wings, and some of the other bosses. Some other cool art there. There's a couple of these little cards, little laminate cards that give you basics on playing the game. And then this little laminate that talks about the power-ups and the items that you can get. And there's this really thick, fantastic art book that has all kinds of cool stuff in it. And I'll just kind of show you a little bit of that. There's some character information stuff here. JB5. and Iori. Some information about the bosses and some artwork of those. Here's some of the images that they use. When you finish a level, it does this cool thing where it flashes a bunch of these images while it plays this little ending, level ending track that's, you know, a couple, 3 seconds long or whatever. And so it has all of these stills that it uses during that sequence. So that's pretty cool. And again, here's stage layouts with enemy information, boss information. Really nice looking setup here. Oh yeah, this is fantastic. Some cool sketches of the character art and different things. Yeah, there's JB Fifth. Some sketches of him. Some sketch work of Iori. Some boss sketches. Some really cool enemy designs. And yeah, it's really nice stuff. Some additional sketches here, some character art, and then some cool illustrations, and then a whole bunch of text. There's a nice deal. It shows a sketch of the front cover art and then the full art itself with the final boss there. So that's pretty cool. And then a sketch and a final version of the alternate art that's on the front of the outer box for the limited edition. Just a ton of cool art to look at. It's a really nice illustrations. Different versions of the logo, a whole bunch of sketches, some screenshots and information, and full sprite rip. That's pretty cool. So an entire sprite sheet for that particular boss. And here's some information about the different people who were involved in the game from Cave. Some of the staff members who worked on the game. I think maybe I follow her on Twitter. Let's see. Oh, an explanation of Iori's room and some information about that. And some additional artwork showing the different things that you can collect and do within the game. Cats and dogs there. And hamsters and birds. Let's see. And some additional information. Just a ton of stuff in here. Oh, and then a little comic that is several pages long that I'm assuming is just some additional story information about the game. So this is one of those things that really makes me want to learn Japanese. And then it looks like several pages of interview as well with some staff members. So maybe some dialogue about how they went about designing the game and, you know, information about its release. I'm speculating here, of course. So anyway, a really nice art book. Just a really, really good package. There's a little deal here about the Esperade Psy Drive Waves 2019, audio disc and booklet included. I don't know if... I'm assuming that's different than this, the Esperade Psy soundtrack, which comes in this nice little deal here. So there's the soundtrack with spine card and original soundtrack there, all the different tracks. I'm assuming that this little card is talking about an Arrange album or an alternate soundtrack of some kind. It says Drive Waves. So I might have to look into that. Oh yeah, remixers. There you go. So Ryu Takahiro Iguchi, known as Super Sweep. Fumihisa Tanaka of Super Sweep. Ayako Saso, Shinji Hosoe, Atomic, Polygon Prompt, 909 State, Takayuki Kamiya, and Atsushi Ohara. So yeah, probably need to look into that. And then, of course, the game itself. Again, really cool cover art there with the three main characters and the final boss. And the same kind of pictures and information that was on the back of the large outer box. So a really nice package from the M2 Shot Triggers team. And really pleased with how this turned out and just the quality of this whole thing. Slip this back in the box here. Now, oops. Now, you'd think that that's all I got during the course of the month, but you'd be wrong. I'm not done. I've got one more thing to show you. What could be more exciting than getting the Ultracore package and then this huge limited edition for a shmup, a cave shmup? Well, how about a new Game Boy game? And by new Game Boy game, I really mean new Game Boy game. I backed the Kickstarter for the re-release of Tobu Tobu Girl Deluxe. And I'll say re-release. Tobu Tobu Girl came out on the Game Boy a few years back. It did get a physical release. I missed out on it because I wasn't aware of it until later. But they decided to re-release it and tune it up so that it was compatible with the Game Boy Color and had the additional functionality. Well, they got enough money in the Kickstarter that they were able to meet the stretch goal also of setting it up so that it could also be compatible with the Super Game Boy. Not just in black and white, but actually with its own border and color scheme. And so this does that as well. So included with the package were these two little collector coins. This is number 441 out of 650. Little collector coin there. First Press Games. And then Tobu Tobu Girl logo with the cat on the back. And then this gold coin is 269 out of 1,000. Again, the First Press logo. And there's the girl and the cat. There is this fun little poster which shows her, the girl, performing the actions in the game, basically bouncing on the heads of all these enemies. And then here's of course, a bigger shot of her doing that. And now to the game itself. Of course, there's the box. Really decent, nice quality box. I like the fact that it keeps with the style, but instead of saying Game Boy, so that they're not getting, using copyrighted name or trademark name, it just says Dot Matrix series on the side, which is great because of the Dot Matrix display of the Game Boy. And inside there are some goodies. Yep, I got everything. Alright, so we've got... Let's go through these here. We've got another version of that same poster. I'm not sure why they included two of them, but still pretty cool. So I may be able to frame one of those and hang it up here in the game room or somewhere. We have the there's a sticker sheet, which is pretty nice. It's got the girl in several poses with her cat. Her sitting on one of the enemies that she would normally be jumping on. And the logo, of course. So that's pretty cool. We have a full color manual, which is really nice, high quality. It's got controls and how to play the game. A little bit of backstory. Again, how to play the game, talking about what you're doing, enemies that you'll encounter, some information about the features of the game, and it does mention the Super Game Boy compatibility here. A notes screen, because of course the manual needs a note, or a notes page, I should say. Some hints. Oh, and then a little comic that basically tells the story of how the girl had her cat and had her cat tied on a balloon, and then the balloon, she tripped on a rock and let go of the balloon, and the balloon went away, so she had to go rescue her cat. And that is the story of the game. There's also this, it says postcard, but it's a warranty card, essentially, that is like the kind of warranty card that you would get in a traditional game when you'd buy it. Expiration date, October 2021. And where did you learn about this product? Question 1. Seen it in the store, recommended at the store, catalog or pamphlet, seen on TV, acquaintance or friend, magazine advertising, newspaper magazine, and it asks for the name, or other, with a blank. Which is just great. Please write your thoughts and other opinions about this software. Question 2. Question 3. What do you think about this software? And it asks about the game content, packaging, manual, and price. Which of the following products do you own? Question 4. Nintendo Family Computer, Nintendo Disk System, Sharp Twin Famicom, Sega Series, and it asks for a model number, PC Engine, or PC. Question 5. Which of the following systems do you intend to buy next? PC Engine, Mega Drive, Twin Famicom, Famicom, Super Famicom, or Lynx? Question 6. Which of the following Game Boy titles do you own? And it has 9 blanks. And question 7. Which magazines do you read often? And it has 3 blanks. I love this because it's such a fun little detail that harkens back to the days when you would buy a game new from the store and come home with the game and the box and the manual, but also the warranty card that you could fill out and send in to the manufacturer and give them feedback about the game. And it's so period, because Tobu Tobu Girl started as an original Game Boy game, it's so period accurate in that sense with asking about these systems that I really appreciate the attention to detail there, and it's a neat addition to the game. I just love that. There's also this Tobu Tobu Girl original soundtrack, which is very fun because it comes in this little sleeve, and of course it is mini CDs, and so you've got information here, disc 1 and disc 2, which means it is a gatefold, which is just fantastic. Composer Potato Tan. And so you have disc 1, Girl, and disc 2, Cat, which is awesome. So definitely going to rip those to the computer and be enjoying that. There's also this First Press Winter Lineup 2019 for the Nintendo Switch. So we have Whole New World, which is sort of a Metroidvania. I kind of slept on that, but I might have to go back and see if I can acquire that. There's also Shadowbug, which I was not familiar with, so I'm going to have to figure that out. And then Castle of Heart, and I'm not sure I saw any information about that, so I'll need to check that out as well. Also coming in 2024, your Nintendo Switch and PlayStation 4, Rival Mega Gun, which is great. Kind of a head-to-head shmup that I'm looking forward to. Mulaka, which I don't know about. And then Psychotics Agatha Knife and Psychotics Mechanica from First Press Games. So definitely need to keep my eyes out for those. And of course, plastic tray that holds the cartridge and plastic case itself. Now, of course, it is not an official Nintendo plastic case, but we'll see if it'll show up on camera here. Since the game is from says Dot Matrix series on the side, it says Dot Matrix here along the bottom, which is awesome. And of course, it says Dot Matrix series here, just like the box does. Has the artwork, and it says Dot Matrix series up top here instead of Game Boy, or just Game on many bootleg cartridges, and made by FPG there on the back at the top. So it looks like a quality cartridge. I thought maybe it was an opalescent or kind of a pearl pink, but it's not. It's just a matte pink color on the cartridge, but really cool. So the devs sent me a pre-release copy of the game that I streamed several months ago and kind of showed off the gameplay and functionality. But now that I have the final product, I'm going to have to set it up and check it out in the Game Boy player so I can see that, and then also probably because the Game Boy player will show me the Game Boy Color iteration of the game, and then I'll also probably need to fire it up in the Super Game Boy on the Super NES so I can show that off and give you guys the full picture of what this game looks like. So that is everything for January. I don't have any more to show off, but then again, that would be insane if I did, because I already got so much stuff during the course of the month. What do you guys think? I mean, other than Tobu Tobu Girl, Ultracore, and Esperade, what stuff do you think I should be prioritizing in my backlog or in my queue to play next? What of these games do you have, or what of the stuff do you think is interesting and is worth a look? Is there anything in here that's terrible and I should never play it and just keep it as a collector piece? Let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, consider giving it a thumbs up. Also consider subscribing so that you can see more of my videos in your YouTube feed. I'll have a link in the description below where you can check out my Game Boy reviews. That is gameboyguru.blogspot.com. Also, make sure you check out Nira's channel. There'll be a title card in one of the corners, I don't remember which, that'll have a link to his channel. He provided the Super Mario Land overworld music that I use as the intro for a lot of my videos, and he does a bunch of other great chiptune and game music covers as well, so I encourage you to go have a listen to those. As always, thanks for watching, thanks for playing, and game on.